name you have. And someone can also say it is a byproduct of man's activity. Meaning when you have done something, you have eaten some food, there's that leftover, something that you, for example, you have eaten meat, the bone that you no longer need becomes waste. Maybe someone can also talk about liquid waste, but though our at the moment we are emphasizing on solid waste, like you may bathe in your bathroom. The water you carry in the bathroom is useful, but after bathing it becomes useless for you. That can also, in its case, be a waste. Okay. In liquid waste for that matter.
Okay, if you've just joined us, we are on the Health Talk, and we are talking about solid waste and how it can impact on our environment and our health. You can join the discussions by asking questions and giving a comment in the comment section. Sometime back, Inspector, we have had stories, we have seen publications in the newspaper. ARUA has been paraded as the dirtiest town in the whole of Africa. Of course, I wouldn't want to believe that. I know that is a little bit over-exaggerated, but what would you say about that publication in particular, about ARUA City?
Wow, thank you. As we talk about the publication of ARUA being the dirtiest city, we also boast of ARUA some few years ago being the second best cleanest, I think, in the upcoming town or city in Africa. I think you remember in the era of the Mayor Asiki, we won awards. Okay. So we have always been proud of that. When we talk about the challenges or the waste poses to urban centers, you know, ARUA is not in itself the only city or town. Waste is a global issue. All over, all our towns, it always disturbs me when people compare ARUA to Gulu, okay? Saying the Gulu streets are very clean and what have you. I believe they clean their face, but you have never seen also the other side. So waste is a global issue. Yesterday, but one, I was watching BBC News. The situation of urban waste. I think there's a slum in Nairobi. It was overwhelming. We don't have any problem here. So that explains the complexity of maybe the problems or the issues the waste is posing to the urban authorities. And looking at also its expensive nature. Okay? Waste management, most people just talk about it, but people don't know how expensive it is to manage, especially waste in urban establishments. For developed nations, if you research, you'll realize as a council like ARUA City, overall budget of ARUA City, at least 20 to 30% of that budget will be allocated for solid waste management. That is developed world. That's why they attain that state of cleanness, sustainable maybe management of this waste. You come to our situation. The budget we have for waste hardly reaches 5%. Okay? So there's no miracle that we can do to ensure that we manage this waste sustainable. I'll be able to come to probably what each and everyone, especially who lives in this kind of establishment, urban, has to do, because everybody has a part to play to ensure that sustainability of waste management. I didn't want to go ahead without maybe sharing or explaining maybe dangers associated with maybe if this waste is not well managed. Okay? First of all, most of our population may be aware. We have accumulated heaps, which are sometimes because the population may not have the available service, or a service provider for that matter, who may come to their service to collect this waste from their residences, from their business places, and what have you. I want to say there are steps involved in this waste management, especially for an urban establishment. One, we want to say the waste generator, you who is the generator of this waste, whether at home, in a shop, in a business place, a restaurant, has a very key role to play in the management of this waste, what we refer to as primary waste management. So at that level, as I entered, I think I realized in this room there was a litter bin, there was a waste bin. That's what I'm referring to. Meaning, whatever we do, wherever, what we generate, there should be a system in place to manage that waste at that level. Now, when this waste is managed well at the primary, council, the authorities that now come at secondary level will meet little challenge or little problems because the waste at that level will have been well managed. I only come either to pick, or maybe you take now to our secondary collection centers, which of course we're also going away from, because they have also been creating more problems, especially if our vehicles are down, they're not timely collected. They also create situation of nuisances and unsightliness, which we believe can also pose danger to the population. Then after now taking this waste to our secondary collection points, it is what we now do. We transfer this waste away from the town, away from town, where we can now transform it or process it into other things, or we can now dispose it finally. That brings me to, if now there's a breakage in the system, like from the person generating, instead of doing it well, you end up throwing it on your compound, or you sweep your room, take it to our roadside, okay, or in front of your building, okay. Sometimes we have people we contract, our road sweepers, the people who do road sweeping, you know, unfortunately our population believes it is the mandate of the council to collect waste, which is very true, but sometimes they even want the council to be the ones to collect from their residences, from their rooms. That's why they just throw it anyhow. We're saying now it is high time we started playing our role, keep this waste, and we are able to pick, or you take to a secondary collection site if you are unable to pay for the service provider who is able to come and collect and so on.
Inspector, so, just to cut you short, who is really the key stakeholder who should be managing waste in a place like ARUA City?
We have so many stakeholders. Everybody, in fact, is a stakeholder. One, we have the council, okay? City council.
That passes the budget?
That, of course, is mandated to supervise, to oversee the waste management, to ensure that the roads are swept, the waste is collected and transported. We have, of course, as I said, the waste generator is a stakeholder, okay? Has a very big role at that level to manage, okay? We have what we call service providers. There are service providers that are contracted by council, and there are service providers that are private, okay? Like you see, there are people you see collecting waste from hotels, from residences. If you are capable of paying for this service, we have a number of them. Others are registered, others are not registered, but we urge you who is collecting waste there unknowingly, council doesn't know about you, and we don't know where this waste ends. We believe there are some of the people who are adding onto the problem. Because if you are not regulating, if we don't know about you and you're collecting this waste, there's likelihood that your waste ends in our drainages, your waste ends in our road channels, it ends in our streams, which even people consume. A lot of our waste goes to the streams and valleys, okay? That shows that these are people who are not registered with us, we don't know them. It is because people now know there's value in waste, okay? Our population still believes waste is just like, as I said in the beginning, is something useless, which is no longer a resource or of use to man. But what I want to say is, all waste, every waste is 100% recyclable. I can cite you an example. In ARUA, in fact, Waste 9, one of the most recycled waste is metallic waste.
And plastic?
Metallic. If you go all over, you see their weighing scales and so on, even their youth and so on who go stealing metals in the villages and so on. Why? There's really available market for it. That is recycled 100%. That's why you go in the communities, you can't get pieces of metal. But what I'm saying is, it is not only metal that can be recycled. All waste can be recycled, whether plastic, whether this food waste, food remains that you have. There are people who make use of this waste as their animal feed. They feed their animal with. We've seen people going to buy waste from food waste from restaurants, from hotels. We're saying plastic waste can be recyclable. Plastics of all forms can be recyclable. I remember you very well participated, and you were so instrumental when we trained a group of youth and women in plastic recycling, where we were making pavers out of plastic waste, even tiles. So what I want our population out there to know is, all our waste can be transformed into another form which can be useful. We should not always believe waste is something I must always throw, but think about what can this waste do. If you cannot do something about it, you look at where someone can transform this waste into another form. That now brings me to telling our population of ARUA city, we are encouraging, especially our youth, the unemployed youth, the women groups who are maybe do not have anything to do. We are saying, get registered, organize yourself in groups. We can build your capacity. We have the capacity to train you to at least engage in productive activities. We are saying this waste, which was a problem, which you said ARUA was reported to be, that is and so on. We are saying we can see opportunities in this, okay? We are able to at least train you to transform this waste into something constructive, especially building materials. We can produce them out of this waste and so on. My urge is just, you get organized, register your group, come to us, we'll train you, get something to do.
Thank you so much for continuing to view us. There is opportunity in making money out of waste. You've heard from the inspector himself. Just Inspector, I heard you say earlier that your budget for waste management is very low. It stands at 5%. I'm just concerned if waste is as dangerous to our health and environment as it is, why wouldn't you take it as a priority? I mean, why would you allocate very little to managing waste in the city?
Okay, I didn't so much want to dwell on that. Okay. I didn't say it is 5%. I'm saying it might not reach, or it might be around there. But of course, as we're doing planning and budgeting, our government has policies. Sometimes as we're doing our work plans and budgeting, there are what we call budget seals that are given. For example, my own department is given a figure, a limit, which I have to budget within, okay? That means now, as a department, I may have a lot to plan for, budget for, but of course now, when I have a seal, I may not be able to now provide everything I need. Just like I may say, as now we grow, we have expanded our boundaries. In our plan, as the health or the authority regulating waste, we had wanted to increase even the number of vehicles to be able to collect waste as far as Odomachako, as far as Airfield, ARUA, and so on. But of course, the budget cannot allow us. That explains the limitations we have in terms of resources. I also want to say, as a council, we have only been managing waste out of the locally generated revenue, which is not very sufficient. Yes.
Now, I thank you for that submission. I did catch you on another thing that you mentioned. You did say like there is the private sector participants that
Yes.
are involved in waste collection, but you are not sure where they dump this waste.
Yes.
So, as a supervisory, in your supervisory role, I want to know, isn't it someone offering to come and like partner with you to try and make this waste management easier? So I'm thinking it would be possible for your office to liaise with that kind of person to at least direct them to take the waste to an appropriate place, other than posing a health risk to all of us.
Yeah, thank you. As I communicated, for sustainable solid waste management, we have been advocating for PPP involvement.
Public-private partnership.
Private partnership.
Okay.
Other than that, we are saying we have groups or organizations that we have contracted. These are specifically doing street sweeping, okay? Now, I also communicated that we do have private operators. Like you have your group, you can apply to council. I've seen waste is a problem, I want to do this, collect this as a business. You'll be client identification. You map your clients where you collect this waste from. You agree with them, probably depending on the amount of waste they generate, how much they're supposed to pay you, either on daily basis, weekly basis, on monthly basis. So it is upon you and the clients, the people you found. My role will just be now to regulate you. For example, when you apply to me as a company or as a business, you know, government does not allow an individual to do business with them. You must either have a registered business or a registered organization or company. So my role will be to ensure that you have A, B, C, D to do this work. For example, you must have a vehicle, okay, to transport this waste, because if you are now going to collect waste from restaurants, hotels, businesses and so on, we will not now require you to bring this waste to our secondary collection center. This waste has been duly paid for. You take it straight to our composting plant for transformation or for processing. So that is what I was encouraging our business community to be doing. As I talk now, we have only registered around 3 groups.
In the whole of ARUA City?
We have only registered 3 groups that are doing private waste collection, and we are supervising. But when you go on ground, you realize there are too many groups. That tells you these ones are not known. We don't know about them. They are doing what is not required because they are not regulated. You realize somebody picks a wheelbarrow, maybe identifies picking waste from people's houses is a source of livelihood, starts doing it. Will collect this waste and goes and dumps into a drainage, okay? Without supervision. That's what I'm talking about. So we are saying we are coming up with now, of course, enforcement strategies. When we get you doing this without council approval, we'll bring you to books. We can put you in. Because we want to solve the problem of waste once and for all. We are saying we encourage every able-bodied person who is capable of doing trading in waste, especially our business community. We want to encourage them. We see very many countries, developed nations now, they're even importing waste, okay? They're importing waste because a country like Sweden generates almost more than half of its electricity out of waste. Okay? They're importing waste from other countries of Europe. So what are we saying? There's a lot of opportunity in waste. There's a lot of trade in waste. Okay? The plastic we talk about, the plastic bottles and so on, once you break this plastic into pieces, what we call plastic flakes, this can be transformed into so many other forms that can be used to make very, very many other things. So we are only advocating for the business community, our youth who are unemployed. We have groups, local organizations, all to come on board. We're saying waste should be a collective responsibility. When our environments are stinking, everybody feels the danger.
True.
We feel the smell, offensiveness. When our waters are contaminated, all of us feel the danger. When there's an outbreak of sanitation-related disease, because in the community there are people throwing this waste anyhow, there are heaps in the valley, the disease spreads. It affects everybody. Okay? So we are saying let it be a collective responsibility. All the residences of the city must be aware of where their waste go. Okay? And more so in the community there, if somebody throws this waste anyhow, let everybody take part to at least bring this person to book. By that, we will have everybody on board. We will have attained that sustainable waste management. We will have attained a clean, sustainable city, which will be the pride of everybody, every one of us. And I have the belief that we can do that. We have the energy, the youth, the young, and so on, are there. What we only want is you come up, you show.
Okay.
Show up. We have the capacity to build your group organization.
Thank you, Inspector. I really don't want this discussion to take a turn like we are promoting business other than health, but thank you for that submission. And I would like to know just how dangerous is this waste to our health? Because there is a common saying that a healthy population is a productive one. Yes. I really would want us to pay attention to the dangers of waste if not properly managed.
Thank you. We are saying waste, when not well managed, all the dangers come to us, the human.
What are the sicknesses? What are the...
For example, we can talk about air pollution, the offensiveness of the air that comes to us. Where there are heaps of this waste, we live around there, come complaining, okay? We have seen around OPM where the other market is. People always come complaining. Reason is the offensiveness of the waste cannot allow you concentrate, do anything. First of all, it attracts flies which go everywhere. You want to eat the flies that they are bringing contaminations or germs onto your food. We are saying all bad effects that happen on land or on our environment affect you. We are saying contamination of water sources. Who uses these water sources? It is us who drink the water, who use the water for bathing, who do what, and so on. If all our waste goes to the water body, we are taking impurities to this water, which even still comes to us. We are taking waste that goes into water. We have the aquatic life, the fish, whatever animal that lives in fish, in water, which we even depend on. Sometimes we eat fish. We are seeing a lot of waste that is washed into our maybe low-lying areas. Okay? At the end of the day, we have seen in the Lake Victoria recently, fish were dying. Don't we depend on fish? Those are dangers of what? Poorly managing waste. Like I talked of liquid waste that is sometimes discharged into water sources. Some of these liquid waste contain what is called metals. The metals that the fish in turn will consume. By the time we eat this fish, we are again getting the infections ourselves. Okay? Animals eat this waste. Is it feces or what and so on? When they're thrown anyhow, we end up getting infections from these animals. Okay? We're saying there's climate change, which is a very big threatening problem now. Waste management, poor waste, managed waste contributes to also emission of gases into the atmosphere. For example, if we allow waste to rot openly, there's what we call those gas, the nitrogenous gases that are generated, and this goes into atmosphere to mix with the abundant, of course, hydrogen in the atmosphere. It is so destructive to the ozone. We are seeing climate change threatening, and waste impacts also a lot. And this climate change, we are seeing places that used to even be cold now are getting colder. Places that were hot are getting hotter and hotter. So we need to do something. I'll maybe go on some of the challenges later on as probably we go to a break.
Do you think diseases like cholera, typhoid, and others that are as a result of contamination and poor waste?
Yeah, cholera, typhoid, and so on. Of course, all diseases have their different causative agents.
Thank you.
Or what causes? Because once the waste is mixed up with fecal matter, feces, and so on, outbreaks like cholera and typhoid are, of course, possible.
Okay. We are going to take a very short commercial break, but before that, I would like us to know just which type of waste is more dangerous than the other. There is the non-biodegradable waste and the biodegradable waste. The non-biodegradable meaning also the plastics?
As I said, majorly all waste are dangerous.
Okay.
Of course, waste are categorized. We have waste that are medical in nature. Those, of course, we say they are highly infectious. They are specialized waste, and we have a different system of managing them. They are mostly in healthcare facilities, clinics, and hospitals. But all this waste, once not well managed, they are equally dangerous. We are saying the plastic pollution of the soils and so on. All our soils are losing fertility. In the future, will not be producing food. That's the danger. These ones which decompose, they bring they can block our waterways, accumulating water, which in turn maybe become breeding sites. All are dangerous. All type of waste, when not well managed, are capable of causing for us at least a danger or a hazard in any form or another.
Thank you very much. We'll take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be tackling another health matter about waste.
The definitive online platform for the West Nile region of Uganda is now here. Stand out and make your presence felt in West Nile through our website and across our digital and social media platforms. Be introduced to untapped treasures at the Economic Center of Uganda, Democratic Republic of Congo, and South Sudan through our expertise in marketing, research, advocacy. With our dedicated television platform, Rhino TV, West Nile Web is the one-stop hub for breaking news on everything political, cultural, tourism, entertainment, sport, music, and much more. Visit our website at www.westnileweb.com.
West Nile Web. Discover opportunities. Live your dream.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. You're still watching Rhino TV Health Talk. With me in the studios is Apango, the health inspector for ARUA City. We're discussing solid waste and how it can affect our health and environment if not well managed. Before the break, I did mention that we are going to come back and talk about how prepared are we to run this city with the amount of waste that we are expecting to increase with the city status. I know many people are going to be coming. The rural urban migrations are going to be there. A lot of new business establishments, constructions here and there. Are you prepared to handle the amount of waste that's coming up in the city?
Yeah, thank you. You'll realize Most of our policy documents for this country are very good if we are to implement them to the dots. All these problems will not be there. Maybe simply because most of our documents, we have quite very many policy documents. The Public Health Act, we have the Fiscal Planning Act, we have the Environment Act, there's the NEMA Act, we even have the Local Governments Act. We have very many documents, laws, that we can use and implement for a better management of this. But unfortunately, implementation of the laws has always been, I think that's across board all over the country. But we are saying, initially we had a bylaw, a bylaw which was yet a draft. It remained at the ministry chambers. What we have in plan now with the new leadership of the city, we are going to at least come up with a review of this bylaw to ensure that we are able to manage or regulate waste management here well. I want to say, just as I said some time back, around 2016, we achieved a clean state of our town, simply because we had an approach, like you saw these wheel carts women used to roll. That was something which attracted most of our municipalities in the country. They admired it. We said that did a miracle, okay? We have come back as a city. We are now trying to modify more of those wheel carts. We even want to improve it in a way that we have it like a tricycle. Somebody is able to roll with ease and so on. We are, at the moment, we are producing them. We got a sample, the supplier produced, which we believe this is going to aid community waste collection from the various urban communities we have here. Anytime within this month or early next month, those will be produced. We'll be able to provide them, especially for some of our service providers, to aid collection of waste from the community. As I said, as a council, we are not going to license businesses that do not have waste management bins in their business premises. That's another policy that we're going to have and implement, and we'll be strict about it, at least to improve or to prevent littering of our town. We'll make sure all businesses are licensed on condition that they have functioning waste management receptacles in their business units. As we go forward, you know, I was talking much about recycling. That is where we are going to maybe put much of our emphasis or much of our energy. We want to ensure that we minimize as much as possible collection, heaping of waste into one place and so on. We want to ensure that if people can make use of this waste, okay, whether groups and so on that are able to establish centers for recycling, you know, we have organizations that are training in briquettes production. You know, briquettes also do make use of the other the biodegradable type of waste. Initially, it's just because of COVID. There's an organization that had come to us that wanted to train some youth groups. But I know when COVID the lockdown lifting is done, we might engage them to be able to train our youth, whereby they'll be able to produce briquettes, which can be a substitute for charcoal. You know, charcoal has made tree cutting very, very rampant in the West Nile region. So we're saying we're going to, as much as possible, encourage reuse, recycling, and transformation of this waste, which will make waste a resource other than something wasteful or something that should be thrown away. So we are saying we will encourage recycling. This will minimize much of the waste that will come for our management. Okay? it will reduce all the waste that we'll manage as council or to transport for processing.
Inspector.
So we will be able to ensure that people take much of this waste for their production, okay? Reducing all the
I
amount of
understand that
wastage.
very well. Since I was a participant in waste
Yes.
recycling,
Yes.
I want to tell you from my experience the challenge I faced.
Yes.
So that maybe you could pick a leaf and
Yes.
move with the other people who would want to use your waste
Yes.
to recycle for other things. The challenge with waste is that the methods used for collecting waste here, it does not separate the waste at source.
True.
People mix biodegradable waste with the liquid waste, with the every other thing, food waste. So it becomes very challenging for
Yes.
somebody who would want to pick interest. Me, I want to recycle the paper. Me, I want to recycle the plastics. Picking it, separating it from other waste alone is a very discouraging thing. Just how much are you doing to sensitize people about separation at source?
Thank you. We have really been communicating so much, preaching so much separation. However, in the past, this has not been possible. It has never been achieved because as a council, I want to admit, as a council, we will preach separation at source. Now when this waste is brought to our secondary collection point, we'll have one skip at a community. You understand? Meaning, my efforts to separate at source will still be wasted because I have to put this waste all into one container. That's how it never, of course, maybe was success. It was not a success. But now, what we are trying to encourage, what we are saying now is, we want to encourage separation right from community. Even the village, it's not only in town. It's not only be in town, but in the villages, wherever we come from, we want to encourage separation, where this waste from the kitchen, food waste and so on, please, take them to a refuse pit. You produce manure. Put this there, cover it. After 2-3 weeks, it is ready manure. You can apply for your urban farm, urban gardening. The market in ARUA now is very big. You produce your green and veggies, the market is ready. We're saying use that to produce compost manure for your backyard garden or backyard farming. Keep the plastic waste. We're saying plastic, when it is dry, it doesn't smell, you can keep it even for 1 full year.
True.
We're saying keep your plastic, whether cavera, whether bottle, you put it in your sack, keep it there. Okay? Once you have accumulated, we have people who are buying plastic. There are people who are buying plastic. I'd said, once waste is well separated, when you separate waste very, very well, its value goes high. How do I mean? You'll go into a restaurant, you'll see the food remains are packed in a bucket.
Separate container.
At the evening, you realize people are coming to take what? They're coming to take this food for their dogs. Okay? But now, in this restaurant, let this waste be mixed up. The food, cavera, dirty water, and so on. You mixed it there, wait and see if somebody is coming to take it for their dog.
That is the major challenge.
Once it is mixed, nobody will come for it. But when the food is separate, you see the quality of the waste. If plastic is kept alone, I have plastic waste, especially plastic bottles. Let me say I've gathered a sack of it. Tell me it will remain there. There will be market for it. But you mix this plastic with the maybe grass, leaves, and so on, what other waste, somebody will think this one will need more time to sort and so on. They will leave it there. So we are saying, once waste is separated, the value goes high. You find it as a resource other than something we will throw away, as we said in the beginning, like the definition of waste. It will no longer be waste. It will be waste for that person who uses it, but now it will be a resource for the next person. That is what we want to encourage. And this will also prevent this tendency of creating numerous collection centers in town. That is what we want to go away from. Because if we have our collection centers, in town where people are doing business and so on, where our vehicles are broken down, which is always the case, and it's not collected, you'll always see what? Danger. People start rising and so on, and it's true, the dangers will be there. So what we're saying is, once you separate this waste, there are people who are doing recycling. I've said there's a youth group in the water, the women group have trained at compost plant. There are more we want to train. Those will be your points, recycling points, where you should take your plastic waste. Want that to be done. By the time we start impressing this, I want to assure you, we'll have market for every type of waste we generate. All type of waste will be like like metal, which is 100% recycled in ARUA.
I think that will start by you in your new bylaws. If you can put strict policies, like after every building, commercial building in town should have 3 separate or 4 separate bins that should put different types of waste in whatever color you classify for it. It would make it easy for people who want to come and pick this waste. Slowly,
we're getting there. One is we're advocating for these private operators that we have, that we have engaged, to be able to, if they have the capacity. Unfortunately, most of our people who come for these services do not have the capacity to provide what is required. That's why I was asking the business community to come on board to at least embrace this kind of trade or business in waste. So what I'm saying is, once our group gets capacitated, they'll be in position to provide what? These bins according to their waste types. Of course, to the clients where they'll be collecting this waste from. But now at the business central business area, it will be the mandate of the business owner, you who is doing business. One thing I forgot to tell our people is, there's been a tendency in this town, in our town of ARUA, that the role of managing waste is entirely for the municipality. Why? They say, I've paid municipal, okay? I've paid municipal, so I only have to clean and leave it there. If they don't collect, it's not my role. They don't know this waste alone can still impact on them, okay? And to solve this, we have tried now to remove that tag of fee that was tagged in the names of solid waste, okay? We are saying now, nobody is going to pay council for waste. It will be your own responsibility. By the time, that's going to give us now leeway to fully enforce without fear or favor. I will come to you, you will not have that excuse, I'll pay the council. You will not have it. Because we have removed that element. Now there is, in your the trading license you pay, there's no fee for waste. That is only the assessment that they have done for your business. So why did we do that? We also want now the private sector to thrive. We want the private sector to be fully engaged in managing waste as a business, to collect this money, which of course we used to collect as council. Okay? We want council to come out from that. The private waste operators will now be collecting this from the people, such that they're able to manage this waste for them, collect for them. Ours will now be supervision. And there, our people will have improved their livelihood. More employments will have been created for the youth who are doing, women who are collecting this waste. More groups, organizations will have come on board to participate in the collection, management of this waste. I'll only be happy to be supervising when our youth are getting employment, our women are getting employment in the waste sector.
Thank you. I don't want to leave the studios minus talking about food vending, which is another major cause of litter in the streets. But before I give you an opportunity to talk about roadside food vendors, there are a few people that are following us. Thank you very much for watching. Ochima Richard is saying Is that peace or this is not peace? My name is Sanyu Doris, the moderator for tonight's Health Talk program. Anguzu Sunday is saying, catching you live from Kampala. Collins Injiku is saying, I'm following within ARUA city. Thank you so much, guys, for following this program. I encourage you to share it and keep liking the page and keep following. Thank you. So I want to know the aspect of food vending on the streets. I see people collect revenue from those women that vend on the road. Is that your department or that is a private sector thing? Because these women, when they bring their maize, their nuts, their peels, and you know, the cover of they're dumped there. Even cassava, it remains on the streets.
Yes.
It's washed down by the rain. It goes to the drains. You see it blocking, causing, you know. Who is responsible for these roadside vendors?
Thank you. It's true. For the past few years, we have had that challenge of street vending, which of course has really made it very, very difficult for us to have that sustainable cleanness in the town. You see most of our major roads. Idi Amin, I want to tell you today, I was even slapping people at the Idi Amin road there, because you see everybody comes with their goods and somebody has the gut to put his wheelbarrow at the center of the road, okay, with their goods and so on. You wonder which mentality of people, what category of people are these? If you are in your right senses, you know vehicles are moving, it's a very busy road, you cannot just do that. Anybody can, any accident can occur, you lose your life, others lose their life. For the past few years, I think from the time the main market was dismantled for construction, numerous markets came up. Later on, I think from that time up to now, the number of market vendors, I think has multiplied, I can say even more than 5 times. Okay? Because the people that we shifted from the main market were in Social Center, in Red Cross here, and Lobida Market. And those markets were enough for them. They were enough. But now, as I said later on, more people started coming, more vendors started coming. That's why now you see the population on the streets is so great. I want to say council has had efforts to remove these street vendors, and of course it is being due to the stubbornness of our people. Stubbornness of our people who only believe they can get market for their products on road. They want to capture the people who are passing, okay? You realize people along Avenue Road, most of those women who sit out there, these are women who even have stalls in the market. Of course, everybody wants to compete for the customers. You see they recover their items inside, they pick a few to come and sit on road, okay? And truly this has caused for us, all our flower beds you can see are littered, all our drainages are littered and blocked and so on. You truly have said the group of people who come with cheats, okay, to maybe give them for the market deal and so on. Much as we don't advocate for street vending or people to sit on road, you also know government has its policies. Once you are doing business, collecting money.
I want you to first help me to identify that group that gives the cheats.
We do have our market contractor.
Okay.
The main market is being contracted out. That is collecting revenue on behalf of the council. So because in the market there, they monitor, they collect from all our markets. Of course now, people are doing business, collecting money from the public. You're picking money from the public from the goods you are selling. Even if you're doing that at your own home, government will tax that money, okay? Even if you're doing this business at your own home, you're collecting money from people, public, for the goods you are selling, the government will tax that money. That is the reason as to why they will not be allowed to sell without paying the market due.
So it is the
So
contract
that
of the
market due does not give you the authority to sell on road. It doesn't. That's why we can chase you anytime. We're saying markets are designated, it's an institution. A market is an institution which has its requirements. Why? If you want to come, if you're coming to sell, whether a food item, whether water and so on, it is believed you will sit here for a period of time. You will sit here, you will get hungry, you will want to eat. You will want to go to the toilet, you will want to ease yourself. You will want to go and maybe you'll generate waste, and this waste must have a place where to put. That is why street vending, especially in our setting, is not yet allowed. But in developed nations, street vending are organized. Organized in a way that they also have all those other requirements I was talking about. They have those requirements, and probably you'll realize that they do it better. Like, unlike our people, I sell avocado, whatever remains, if I feel it's now burden for me to carry, they pour here, which becomes a burden.
Thank you.
Now, on that I want to say, from tomorrow, our task force today resolved. We are going to start removing the street vendors. We're going to make sure all those on Avenue Road and so on are all taken to our social center market. Whoever is going to resist will meet the wrath of the police.
Finally, street vendors are leaving the streets tomorrow. Inspector, I'm meant to believe that we have had bylaws in place to punish people over time.
Yes.
And we have also seen these same bylaws being overlooked, and these things continue. We say these things and they continue. How certain are we that this time this is going to take effect? Are there really any punishments you put in place for those who continue to, step over these bylaws?
As I said, our bylaw remained at the chambers of the ministry. By now it must have become obsolete, unless we have to review. But even in the absence of bylaws, we have too many laws that we can enforce. We can use to enforce on these offenders, people who don't listen deliberately. I want to say I have a court file.
Okay.
I've opened a court file for those who are doing maybe littering of the streets. Of course, the street vendors are culprit. Council only pardoned them because we had thought the market will be opened at the beginning of July, which has delayed because of COVID. But what I want to caution the public of is this time we are not going to massage the people on the road and so on as we used to do. We'll leave your good, we'll not run after your products, we'll pick you straight for prosecution.
Wow.
We have secured a desk in court. That is what we are going to do.
Okay, thank you very much. It has been wonderful having you. I'll read a few comments and then we'll ask the guest to wind up the show. Engineer William Oloya says, thank you for the show. This is very impressive. Thank you, Engineer, for watching. Mubarak Haddad Amaku says, good evening. Good evening, Mubarak. Then Efiti Sydney has a question for you. Why does the municipal overcharge private companies in getting a license to operate a waste disposal company, other than encouraging private companies to do waste disposal? You'll answer that in a few. I love this program, and thanks Rhino TV for changing lives, catching you live from Israel. That is Atamva Asiko. Kashogi Zavi Blaze is saying it's a good move to discuss about solid waste. To the management, next time invite the DHO, hospital administrator, and other stakeholders to discuss about the lost ambulance. Wow, I know so many people are interested. We'll put that. The moderator has just said a healthy population is a productive one. Thank you. So the issue of ARUA Regional Referral Hospital Ambulance, don't take it lightly. We will look into your concern. And then Moonjo says, Moonjo following the show from Ediofe. This is so wonderful. Thanks to the brains behind the TV channel. Thank you to Moonjo. Then Taban Alfred says, catching you live from Gotebong. I'm not sure where I know that is coming from, but thank you for watching. Then Collins Inziku says, I'm following within ARUA City. Thank you, Collins. And thank you for all our viewers. Thank you for catching up this show. And I'll give a few moments for our guests to wind up. Just to know we are already past the time that was given. Thank you.
I think there was only one question.
Yeah.
Is it FT somebody?
FT Sydney.
Sydney, anytime you feel free, come to my office. I want to assure you, we have waived most of our taxes or levies. As I talk now, we want to provide a favorable environment for the private sector to trade in waste. If you come to me now, I don't know if you have ever come to the office, if you come to me now, you realize there's no fee you're going to pay, except maybe a disposal fee that's going to be at our compost plant, because we have to maintain that place.
Since you attended the COVID-19 task force meeting today, I want you to, in your brief, conclusive remarks, I want you to tell us exactly what transpired and how ready we should get.
Thank you. From our COVID task force meeting, I only want to pass one caution to the population of ARUA City and in any case West Nile in general. I want to say our cases are rising beyond normal. At the moment, our positivity rate stands at 37. Okay? Wow. That is worrying. The last week, we lost 3 people. Today, we lost 1 person. Okay? The person we lost today is a woman from Tanganyika, close to airfield there. This woman is a co-wife to one that died a week ago. Okay? Last week but one, there was a woman who died in Tanganyika. When our team was notified, when our team went on ground, it was sampled, the result was, it came out positive. And our people there refuted this result. The population there said, no, this woman had these other comorbidities, it cannot be COVID. But now, this one who died today was the principal contact. They used to be together, so close and so on. Now when this one died today, of course had problems of chest congestion, breathing and so on. People from within there were the ones who called us. Today they believed truly that was COVID. Okay? Now what I want to say is our people still live in denial. Even if they have signs and symptoms and so on, they don't want to come up to go to the healthcare facilities or to seek support. What I want to urge every one of us to do is, let's have health-seeking behaviors when we are not feeling well. That will help another person, will have saved others. When we screen you early, will have prevented more people from getting infected. All in all, what we want to say is, let us observe all the SOPs. Let us ensure we are masked up when in the public. We sanitize. Our people don't do this. They simply observe in town. Once they go out now into the residences and so on, like in Coast, you see youth keep gathering. A Diofe, they gather in all our trading centers. Let's avoid this if you don't want to have this continuous lockdown. Because there may be a possibility that ARUA may remain locked down because of that high rate. Okay. That's the caution.
As a government agent, is there a facility where if I'm not feeling well, I can go and check?
We have our tests in Oli, ARUA Regional Referral Hospital, Adumi Health Center, and all these tests are free of charge. If you feel you have maybe symptoms, please go and access these services. Then we have some other private care facilities, but we already registering some issues with them, which we are going to meet tomorrow. We're going to meet with our private hospitals and healthcare facilities to try to address some of irregularities. But make sure you go to these facilities. We have also established a rapid response team that is in our offices at the city there to respond to alerts. Anybody who is presenting with signs and symptoms and so on, we get a call, we're able to send a team there to pick samples and so on. So make sure you are able to at least report somewhere when you don't feel fine. for support.
Thank you so much, Mr. Apango, the health inspector of ARUA City. It has been very fruitful having you come to the Rhino studios to discuss this concern about waste and how it affects our life and environment. Yes. Thank you so much, viewers, for having been part of this show. This show comes your way every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It may either be me or my colleague Jonathan to catch you up with another episode of the Health Talk. Until then, stay blessed. Thank you.
Thank you.
The definitive online platform for the West Nile region of Uganda is now here. Stand out and make your presence felt in West Nile through our website and across our digital and social media platforms. Be introduced to untapped treasures at the Economic Center of Uganda, Democratic Republic of Congo, and South Sudan through our expertise in marketing, research, advocacy. With our dedicated television platform, Rhino TV, West Nile Web is the one-stop hub for breaking news on everything political, cultural, tourism, entertainment, sport, music, and much more. Visit our website at www.westnileweb.com.
West Nile Web. Discover opportunities.